the weather forecast with C3 Production.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's good to have you for this brand new edition of the weather forecast. The National Territory expects calm weather to dominate this morning and until the afternoon. I trust you're already set to go on with your activities. We'll have a maximum temperature of 35 degrees in the southwest region as well as in the littoral region. 34 degrees is expected in the east and the north region. We'll have 30 degrees in the south region, 32 degrees in the west region of the country. For details, follow me to the Adamo region, where showers are not expected this morning. Very favorable for you to go on with your activities. The sun will be covered by the clouds. We'll have a maximum of 34 degrees in the afternoon. Next, we go to the west region, where the sun will be covered by the clouds. Very favorable for you to go on with your activities, and we'll have a maximum temperature of 32 degrees in the afternoon. Let's end now with the northwest region, where no showers are expected this morning, and until the afternoon, we'll have a maximum temperature of 33 degrees Celsius. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to go visit the Lobe waterfalls. Have a good day. God bless you. Take good care of yourselves.
That was the weather.
Et dans la suite du Cameroun Daylight, accueillons tout de suite sur ce plateau Gaël Obono pour la revue de presse tabloïde. Gaël, bonjour, bienvenue.
Bonjour Gladys, bonjour à tous.
Bien réveillé.
Tout à fait, on a intérêt.
Qu'est-ce qu'on a comme soleil dans la presse ce jeudi?
Eh bien, ce jeudi, on retrouve le bilan concernant l'actualité, précisément concernant le terminal à conteneurs de Douala qui fait son bilan. On parle pratiquement de 49 milliards de francs CFA de chiffre d'affaires. Dans les journaux ce matin, on retrouve également un dossier concernant la chefferie traditionnelle dans la région de la Damawa. Les dames sont de plus en plus à l'honneur. C'est à retrouver tout de suite dans votre revue de presse. Bonjour à tous, nous sommes le jeudi 18 février 2021. Ravis de vous retrouver pour votre revue de presse quotidienne. En ouverture ce jour de tabloïd, le journal Réalité Plus qui s'intéresse à la centrale thermique de la région de la Damawa. Paul Biya promet et réalise, titre le journal. La Damawa accueille sa toute première grande centrale thermique depuis le 15 février. Djamboutou, Garoua et Ngaoundéré sont illuminés grâce à l'aménagement de sites pour l'installation de l'infrastructure qui a coûté au gouvernement plus de 13 milliards de francs CFA. Ambition, porter la production énergétique à 3000 mégawatts. Joie totale dans la Damawa pour les populations qui voient se réaliser un engagement du président de la République. C'est à retrouver à la une du journal Réalité Plus, l'édition de ce jour. Autre actualité maintenant à la une du journal L'Élite. L'Élite qui s'intéresse au développement dans le secteur de l'immobilier. 2 milliards de francs CFA pour la rénovation des cités SIC de Yaoundé et de Garoua. Selon le journal, le financement octroyé par l'ONU Habitat et paraphé le 9 février dernier s'étendra sur 5 ans et concerne les cités SIC de Beaumois à Garoua et de la cité verte à Loncac dans la capitale politique. Autre actualité à la une du journal L'Élite, gouvernance au soutien au président Biya pour la résolution de la crise anglophone et l'endiguement du phénomène Boko Haram. Le message de paix de Michel-Ange Anguine. Le journal L'Élite fait un zoom sur le responsable et précise que devant le mur lézardé de l'unité nationale secoué par des vents contraires subséquents à des connivences mettant en scène des complicités entre forces endogènes et exogènes, indigné de toutes les récupérations de l'opportunisme politique et de l'instrumentalisation des crises qui s'ensuivent, l'ancien membre du gouvernement inspiré du Patriot Act, appelle à faire front commun derrière le président, motivé par les vertus de pondération. Eh bien, c'est tout un zoom à retrouver à la une du journal L'Élite, l'édition de ce jour. Autre actualité, le journal Le Quotidien qui s'intéresse aujourd'hui à la déconcentration du service public. Le journal Le Quotidien de préciser, dans le cadre de la déconcentration du service public conformément aux hautes directives du président de la République, le MINFROPRA met en œuvre sous l'autorité du Premier ministre, chef du gouvernement, le ministre de la fonction publique et de la réforme administrative, Joseph Lé, a donc signé le 12 février dernier une série de 10 arrêtés accordant délégation de signature aux délégués régionaux de son département ministériel. Pour ceux-ci, certifient localement les différents actes de carrière, une mesure salutaire et historique qui va désormais permettre aux fonctionnaires et agents de l'État du Cameroun d'obtenir leurs actes de carrière partout où ils se trouvent sur le territoire sans plus avoir besoin d'effectuer le déplacement sur Yaoundé. Et bien, dans une communication faite à propos, le ministre Joseph Lé a insisté sur la gratuité des services rendus par le ministère. Autre actualité à la une du journal Le Quotidien, Cameroun-Turquie, les adieux de l'ambassadeur de Turquie, Ez Sarak au Minmeza. Selon le journal Le Quotidien, Ez Sarak, l'ambassadeur turc en fin de séjour au Cameroun, a dit au revoir hier mercredi au ministre des Petites et Moyennes Entreprises, de l'économie sociale et de l'artisanat, Achille Basileking III. Toujours à la une du journal Le Quotidien, coopération, balai diplomatique au ministère des Transports. Selon le journal Le Quotidien, les 9, 10 et 17 février 2021, le ministre des Transports, Jean-Ernest Massena Galé-Bibé, a reçu tour à tour en audience les ambassadeurs de Tunisie, d'Algérie, du Sénégal et de Turquie au Cameroun concernant la coopération entre les différents pays. À la une du journal Cameroun Tribune, l'on s'intéresse aujourd'hui au terminal à conteneurs de Douala, un an de gestion locale, titre le journal. Eh bien, 49 milliards de francs CFA de chiffre d'affaires, 11 milliards de francs CFA reversés à l'État en termes de recettes fiscales contre une moyenne de 4,3 milliards avant la reprise. Ce sont les chiffres dévoilés hier par les responsables de la régie en charge de la plateforme qui faisait le bilan des activités un an après l'entrée en service. Chefferie traditionnelle de la région de la Damawa, toujours à la une de Cameroun Tribune, la percée des femmes. Depuis 5 ans, elles ont intégré le cercle fermé des gardiens de la tradition. Le Cameroun Tribune a suivi leur premier jour à la tête des chefferies dans la région de la Damawa. Autre actualité, nous sommes à la une du journal Le Regard du Monde, hygiène et salubrité dans la région de l'Ouest. Le journal Regard du Monde de titrer « Le docteur Kouamo conserve le prix ». Pour la deuxième fois consécutive, le maire de la commune de Baganté a remporté le prix du concours régional d'hygiène et salubrité lancé dans la région de l'Ouest Cameroun. Il a reçu sa récompense à la salle des conférences des services du gouverneur le vendredi 21 janvier 2021, jour de la proclamation des résultats. C'était au cours d'une cérémonie présidée par le gouverneur de la région de l'Ouest, Awafonka Augustine. La Voix du Centre, le journal revient sur le port autonome de Douala, précisément la régie du terminal à conteneurs. Un an après les chiffres en hausse, le journal de son côté précise que depuis la création de la régie du terminal à conteneurs par le port autonome de Douala, suite au départ du concessionnaire Bolloré, le chiffre d'affaires est passé de 48 milliards de francs CFA en 2019 à 49 millions en 2020, précisément de 48 millions de francs CFA en 2019 à 40 millions de francs CFA en 2020, soit un peu plus d'1 milliard de francs CFA engagés au cours de la période allant du 1er janvier au 31 décembre 2020. Dernière une, à la une du journal La République Presse, le quotidien, qui s'intéresse aujourd'hui au rayonnement diplomatique, l'attrait du ministère des Transports, titre le journal La République Presse, afin de raffermir des liens de cooptation au regard de l'important rôle que jouent les transports dans le domaine. Le ministre des Transports, Jean-Enes Massenangale-Bibie, a respectivement reçu en audience les 9, 10 et 17 février 2021 en son cabinet les ambassadeurs des républiques de Tunisie, d'Algérie, du Sénégal ainsi que l'ambassadrice de la République de Turquie au Cameroun. C'est à retrouver dans votre journal La République Presse, l'édition de ce jour. Et c'est ce tabloïd qui met un terme à votre revue de presse. Merci d'avoir été des nôtres et de poursuivre sur les antennes de la Cameroun Radio Télévision.
Et après la revue de une de journaux, prenons tout de suite le rappel des titres de l'actualité. Les top stories sont signés Aminato Bindoho.
En religion, hier mercredi était mercredi des cendres pour les fidèles chrétiens catholiques, le début du carême. Durant 40 jours, il sera question pour eux de se rapprocher davantage du Créateur. L'entrée en carême a été marquée comme il est de tradition à la basilique Marie-Reine des Apôtres de Mvolier par l'imposition des cendres. Enseignement supérieur, l'université de Ngaoundéré et 6 institutions privées d'enseignement supérieur se donnent la main. Une convention de partenariat entre elles vient d'être signée à Yaoundé. Objectif, faciliter l'accès à une formation de qualité dans les institutions privées d'enseignement. Célébration de la 36e édition de la Journée internationale de la femme, le ministre de la Promotion de la femme et de la famille a reçu en audience son Excellence Hassan Djidji Bachara, ambassadeur de la République du Tchad au Cameroun. Au menu des échanges, les modalités liées à cet événement, en l'occurrence la tenue au nom du défilé du 8 mars, la possibilité du port d'un tissu différent au sein de l'ambassade, ainsi que les mesures protocolaires.
Merci à Aminato Bindoho pour ce rappel des titres de l'actualité. On va parler économie tout de suite, juste après ceci. (6:35 a.m.) It is now time to have our daily economic package with Ewane.
Good morning, Gladys.
How are you?
Thank God it's another day and another time for your economic news page.
And thank God it's Thursday, and today with you, Ewane Pole, we are going to start this page by knowing what makes news this morning.
So exactly, once again, good morning, our televiewers. It's a pleasure always joining you every Thursday morning for the economic news page. And we begin by talking about the transporters sector in Cameroon, Bangui and N'Djamena in Chad. This time around, it is the Cameroon National Shippers Council, the CNCC, that is planning to construct living centers to, of course, reduce road accidents along the Douala-Bangui corridor, according to the Director General of CNCC, Auguste Penda Mbappe. The transporters' reception and accommodations will be constructed, that is, between Ayos and Awai in the center region. And secondly, the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, Fiscal Affairs Department is conducting a technical assistance mission in Cameroon, expected to run on the 26th of this month, 2021. The mission conducted by video conference that is due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The General Budget Directorate of the Ministry of Finance says it aims at supporting government in strengthening the financial governance and supervision of public corporation. And another headline news is about the CEMAC ministers as they are planning, of course, to implement the effective mobilization of funds committed at the Paris Roundtable for the implementation of 11 integrated projects in the CEMAC sub-region. During the Investors Roundtable, which held in Douala, the economic capital, the stakeholders resolved to mobilize 2,492 billion CFA francs to carry out those projects. And these projects are in the sector, that is, different sectors of the economy, in particular the construction of roads and facilitating movement between the countries in the sub-region.
What if we talk now about the major news stories of the week? Can you tell us more on those public title provisions for 20 and 21?
Exactly, Gladys. Let's now talk about the major news stories that mark the week. We begin by saying that the president, that is a presidential decree, has authorized the Minister of Finance by delegation to raise 350 billion CFA francs in public security for the 2021 financial year. These funds will be used to execute major projects in the country, as Clarice Ari-Takang tells us more.
Out of the 4,865.2 billion CFA francs of Cameroon's 2021 state budget, the Ministry of Finance has been authorized with powers of delegation to issue 350 billion CFA francs worth of public securities, especially in treasury bonds. This falls within the government's borrowing program for the fiscal year, which totals 1,363.4 billion CFA francs. On the one hand, in the 24th February and 24th March exercises, the intention is to raise between 30 and 40 and 35 and 50 billion CFA francs. Both have a 5-year maturity and 5.5% interest rate as laid down in the presidential 12 February 2021. On the other, the March 10, 2021 launch will be looking forward to supplying the public treasury with between 25 and 35 billion CFA francs in bonds. The funds secured will go into the development of a number of sectors, amongst them roadworks, water and energy, as well as agricultural projects. As the primary market gets done with their purchase by treasury bond specialists, the desire is to see moral and fiscal persons rush to the secondary market to enable the state push through with its growth plan.
Let's now talk about the digitalization of the tax procedures in Cameroon. The option to simplify procedures by the Ministry of Finance is part of reforms and innovations contained in the 2021 finance law. In the following report, Sali Ebenyanyoki in Douala talks about the e-procedures system expected to secure state revenue. Sali Ebenyanyoki.
Measures to secure revenue collection contained in the 2021 finance law is the prohibition of the payment of taxes and duties in cash and tax offices and the generalization to the divisional tax offices of the payment methods in force in the specialized management units. The law consecrates e-payment as a compulsory method of payment of taxes and duties for large companies. René Ngemaleu, a financial expert in the CEMAC sub-region, confirms that digitalization is a reality in Cameroon. To him, it is a great step because it makes life easy for taxpayers and also permits taxation centers to concentrate in the follow-up of taxpayers' documents. Taxpayers are, however, experimenting e-procedures and e-payment, even though with a lot of technical challenges in the system. In this regard, the expert says there is still much to be done. Though the procedure has been simplified, he complained about serious problems with the server. To him, to obtain the document, you spend a whole day on the computer and you end up not receiving it. Certainly, those who installed the system did not take into consideration the volume of operations. The tax administration is, however, determined to modernize its operations so as to broaden the tax base and secure revenue collected.
Now talk about physically challenged persons. These are people living with disabilities who are bearers of projects in the small and medium-sized enterprises sector can henceforth receive fundings from the Ministry of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises, Social Economy and Handicraft. A convention to that effect has been signed in the country. Beatrice Ngum has details.
With his fingers on the pen, he conceives this logo. This person with a disability like his mate are skilled in performing tasks that range from serigraphy, drawing to bead works. Their goal is to start their own ventures. But to do this, they need funds. The National Center for the Rehabilitation of Persons with Disabilities has set out to secure the funds. They have partnered with the Ministry of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises to accompany the project of these entrepreneurs with special needs.
We used to promote micro projects, some persons with disabilities. With the expertise of BINMESA, we are going on the level of medium-sized enterprise for persons with disabilities.
For now, the center has some 33 projects pending funding from persons with disabilities. The ministry has agreed to fund them. This partnership, the Minister of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises says, has as overall objective to promote the socio-economic integration of persons with disabilities.
It's now time for us to talk about the figure of the day, Gladys.
Yes, and I see that you want us to note that the figure of the day is 620 million CFA francs.
Yeah, exactly. 620 million CFA francs. There is the figure of the day today. You want to know what we're talking about? That is this sum of 620 million CFA francs. This is that is in regard to sport hunting revenues in Cameroon during the recent hunting season that has dropped to this amount of 620 million CFA francs. It's due to the coronavirus adverse effects to our economy. This was disclosed by the Minister of Forestry and Wildlife, Jules Dorette Ndongo, during the ceremony in Garwa to launch the hunting season in the north region of Cameroon. That was recently. So the figure of the day is 620 million CFA francs. There is a drop in regard to the hunting, the money gotten from sport hunting revenue that has dropped due to the coronavirus pandemic in the country, Gladys.
Thank you, Ewane Pole. That was our economic page, and let's say next Thursday.
Next Thursday, God willing, it's thanks to God that we may see that day, and hope to be at the same time. And we invite you, to keep watching CRTV, the heart of the nation.
dans cette page éco, on a entendu ce point sur les émissions des titres publics prévus pour l'année 2021. Le gouvernement, vous le savez certainement, ambitionne de lever 350 milliards de francs sur le marché monétaire de la sous-région. Ce sera des fonds sous la forme d'obligations de trésor assimilables. Ils sont destinés pour la plupart à financer les projets de développement retenus dans la loi des finances 2021. Et donc, les souscriptions peuvent se faire 4 à 5 jours avant la date d'adjudication. Et sur la première phase des émissions de titres publics 2021, vous aurez les détails sur cette première phase-là dans le journal de 8 heures présenté ce matin par Franck Evina. Mais d'abord, ici, on allait tout de suite, on faisait un second tour sur la vitrine des kiosques de ce jeudi 18 février 2021. Yves Somoso Lebaga is already standing next to me to serve you the press review. Yves, welcome. Good morning.
Good morning, Gladys. Thanks for having me.
What is it? Is it a star or a flower?
It's just a flower.
A flower. So tell us, what are the major stories in your papers this morning?
The papers are talking about ex-separatist fighters in the Northwest region who were on a peaceful strike action last Monday. There's a delegation that was sent by the Prime Minister to the Northwest region. He went there with over 4 million CFA francs and with words of assurances to the ex-fighters that everything will be taken care of, their grievances will be listened to and addressed in the days ahead. Apart from that, the newspapers to come back to the loss of 3 chiefs in Libya, the English tabloids come back to the reaction of elites and traditional rulers, of course, in the Central region. We have the stories in the newspapers. And again, Cameroon under 20 Lions in the second outing were able to pull a 1-0 victory yesterday.
That is it, Nouakchott.
Yes, in Mauritania.
Exactly. Those stories and more will be developed in TABLOIDS, presented to you by Yves Somoso Lebaga.
Glad to have you on Tabloid and CRTV's network service. We take a peep at what the papers are saying in Cameroon. We begin this morning with the bi-weekly, the English bi-weekly. The Post newspaper writes that the ex-combatants and at the Disarmament, Demobilization and Reintegration Center in Bamenda on Monday, February 15, staged a protest to demand better living conditions. The ex-fighters marched through the streets of Bamenda and went to see the governor of the Northwest region, Adolphe Lele Lafrique, to present their worries. The governor, alongside the city mayor, Paul Achombong, listened to them and later urged them to put their demands in writing and submit to him. Monday's protest came just a week after ex-combatants at the DDR Center in Boya staged a protest as well on the street to denounce their poor living conditions. A delegation was immediately sent with financial support to the center, and dozens of the ex-fighters at the center were also reintegrated into the society. You can get details into this edition of the Post newspaper. Meanwhile, the Guardian Post newspaper adds that Bamenda DDR Center government cajoles disgruntled ex-fighters. Government has doused the tension at the Disarmament, Demobilization and Reintegration Center in Bamenda following a protest which ex-fighters at the facility began staging Monday. The ex-separatist fighters had taken their grievances to the public on Monday. This prompted a swift intervention of government. On Wednesday, yesterday, a delegation dispatched by the Prime Minister, Chief Dr. Joseph Diongute, met with the disgruntled former combatants in a crisis meeting. during the meeting. In Bamenda yesterday, the special envoy of the Prime Minister, Gilles Nkwain Ngom, conveyed words of assurances from the Star Building occupant before publicly handing over the sum of 4 million CFA francs to ex-military men. It's a story you want to get updates in today's edition of the Guardian Post newspaper. The Horizon newspaper reports that the Lebialem community resident in Yaoundé staged a peaceful march denouncing barbaric acts carried out by separatist fighters in Eswata in the Lebialem, where they killed 3 chiefs at the National Museum yesterday. At the National Museum, residents of Lebialem protest against separatist atrocities back home. The protest was organized by Minister Paul Tasson, who is an elite of Lebialem and comes just days after 3 traditional rulers in Lebialem were pulled out of their houses and reportedly killed by separatist fighters. He equally called on the Lebialem community to remain vigilant and join forces with defense and security forces to fish out those responsible for the atrocities. You can get details within the columns of the Horizon newspaper. Realite Plus says Christians yesterday began to observe the Lent season with Ash Wednesday, which is a significant day in the Christian calendar, denoting the beginning of the repentant period of Lent, which precedes Easter celebration. It is observed by individuals from various sectors of Christianity, including Roman Catholics, Anglicans, Lutherans, and Methodists. Ash Wednesday marked the first day of Lent, a 6-week period during which Christians often abstain from rich food such as meat and dairy. Some who take part also abstain from everyday habits. Realite Plus talked to a clergyman who expatiates on the relevance of the Lent season in its most recent edition. You can pick up that story in the newsstand. Cameroon Tribune says Sunday Jang Jr. scored a delightful header as Cameroon beat Uganda 1-0 at the Olympic Stadium in Nouakchott on Wednesday to see the young Indomitable Lions squad become the first side to book a spot in the quarter-finals of the Total Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations AFCON in Mauritania. The young Lions negotiated their passage to the last 8 against Uganda's Hippos, who had some of the best chances but failed to make them count. Jang Jr. was Cameroon's hero once again, glancing in a deflected corner past the helpless Ugandan keeper on the half-hour mark to register his second goal of the tournament. Of course, that takes the Indomitable Lions to the next stage of the competition. It's a story we want to pick up in today's edition of our national bilingual daily Cameroon Tribune. That story puts an end to today's edition of Tabloid on CRTV's network service. Thanks very much for watching. As you know, you get to the newsstands. Most of the newspapers sell at 400 francs as you buy, and encourage the press to grow. You have a beautiful day ahead.